Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikon here coming at you with another Dauntless video, and today I thought I'd change up my character a little bit. In the previous video we used the Gnasher set while we were defeating the Gnasher. In this video I'm using the Scout set, which is not associated with any particular monster, and I painted a couple of parts to show you guys some of the customization that is possible, like that red and the tones of black that you see in the armor. That was customizable. Also, you will see a new weapon here. This is the sword. It is made from Drask parts, which, as you can see, it's got some lizard parts on it. But we're not going to be fighting a Drask today because I haven't unlocked the Drask proper. I only unlocked the Rogue version, which is like a lesser version of a Drask, and I didn't want it to put a video about that. So we're going to be fighting against a Shrike. Shrike is that creature that a lot of people are referring to as the owlbear. Here we have the intro. I really like the intro where you fly in on the airship and then you can actually drop down. And there's a cool thing about your Slayer dropping down, which is not available in game yet, but will be later down the line, which is you can get a special animation for when your Slayer drops down. Depending on which weapon you have equipped and depending on animations that you can get through the cosmetic systems in the game and style cores and all these other things. So once again, as with pretty much every hunt that I do, we always start with a little bit of light gathering. We just go around, gather a couple of materials as we hunt for the Behemoth. This is necessary because you will need some of these secondary materials. There are certain quests that you can do that are dedicated to picking up materials, but it's, you know, if you get that out of the way while you're looking for the Behemoth, then you don't have to spend that much time grinding for materials. Here I'm also taking a look at the combos because, again, I told you guys in the first two videos that I was going to do, it was going to be weapons that I wasn't too familiar with. We started with the chain blades when we hit up the Gnasher, and now for the Shrike we're going to be using the sword. Now I do know kinda how to use the sword, but it is not a weapon that I use all that much. I do still think it is hands down one of the most powerful weapons in the game because of its special attack and its ability to dodge while still punishing the monsters pretty heavily. You can also say that the chain blades are also able to dodge even better because they have the special dodge, but in my opinion I feel that the sword deals more damage and gives you more control over the elemental damage that you can deal, which is something pretty cool because this was the first time that I was using this sword in this video. And if you guys haven't seen anybody use a Drask sword or a Drask weapon yet, I think you guys are going to be surprised because of the effect that you get, because Drask is a lightning behemoth. Therefore, it would be a logical conclusion that his weapon also would deal lightning damage in some fashion, and in the sword it is just spectacular. So once again, we found the Behemoth, and as per usual, I'm going to launch up my flare. I'm going to check to make sure that all of our Slayers are in the vicinity this time around, because last time I went in first because it was a Gnasher. Gnasher is kind of like a harmless monster. Shrike, on the other hand, he's quite more violent. So I'm going to sheath my weapon. Now, you guys might be like, why wouldn't you run in and then sheath your weapon? Because unlike Monster Hunter, in here you don't have an unsheath attack, so you have to sheath your weapon if you want to run in an attack. So you guys probably noticed the special effect right there on the hits, the little yellow lightning coming out of the sword. I thought that was pretty cool. In this video was the first time I saw that, and I was like, oh wow, this actually looks pretty badass. So the sword is able to do both normal damage and elemental damage. The difference is your normal damage will charge up your special meter, which are those little squares that you see there. Whereas the elemental damage will not. However, it has a combo that requires you to start with elemental damage, and then it will enable you to really lay it into the monster with regular attacks that charge up your special. And that was the combo that I was trying to do. We failed a little bit here, and I gotta be honest though, I think this particular beast looks pretty badass. A lot of people say he looks like an owlbear type of creature, and I guess they're right. But at the same time, I don't know, I just really like the way that he animates and stuff that he does. You can see right there I did the combo that allows you to really punish the monster. And that combo is very satisfying to pull off as a sword. Even though personally I'm more of a heavy hitter weapons type of guy, I gotta say, it's very satisfying when you start hitting those hits, particularly after you apply your special, which I will tell you guys when I use my special so that you guys can see. Now remember, you can break different parts in this monster, so what I'm doing here is actually not the best thing, because in this guy you can break like his wings, you can break his face. I'm not actually sure if you can break his ass, but the thing is, ass is the safest part to be in. There I was still doing the combo. And now I use the special, and if you notice, the sword is like permanently enchanted with lightning while the special lasts, because I only used the special when it was fully charged. Now you can also use this to fire projectiles like that guy did right there, but usually I don't tend to fire projectiles with the sword. I just tend to like fill it up and then use what is called the overdrive mode to deal as much damage as possible. Now in here the monster is still in his normal phase. He still deals significant amounts of damage. That is also due to the fact that we have unupgraded armor and unupgraded weapons. Because like I said, I'm using some of these things for variety on these earlier monsters. You can see once again the elemental damage there. It's very satisfying. I was punishing the leg. Now you can start getting a couple of tells from our Shrike friend here, which is usually when he runs away, he's going to come back with that little flying attack. Smack this in the face. Probably going to pop a potion right about now. Yep, but he punished us with a sonic boom. Sometimes they will combo you down. And there's a whirlwind as well. The whirlwind, both on the Shrike and on this Grave, which is another monster very similar to this one, deals tremendous amounts of damage. So when you go down, your teammates can come in and resurrect you. And you guys are like, oh, so you can die as many times as you want so long as someone is alive to resurrect. No. If you notice, on the top left-hand side, where your stamina and health is, there's also a number at the very top left-hand side. That number is currently in the green. It's 30-something. I'm sorry. I'm watching this through a window, so the number is really small. That number is the danger meter. Also, we see the monster here enraging. You guys could clearly see the enrage there. Even though the enrage had fire on it, this monster does not deal fire damage. I think that's just an animation to indicate, hey, he's enraged now, so be careful. But as I was saying about the danger meter, that pretty much indicates how many times you can die and still revive your friends. So if the danger meter gets to 100, you lose the ability to revive your allies unless you drive off the behemoths. So as you fight behemoths, you will notice that sometimes they will run away. If they run away, the danger meter goes down. Or if you manage to kill the monster, obviously the danger meter also goes down. And I believe that another condition that brings the danger meter down is if you successfully break off a part, but I'm not 100% sure on that because I haven't gotten it to happen consistently. Once again, remember, this is an alpha, therefore certain bugs and certain glitches do happen. Now, there you saw me make the dodge roll through one of the monster's attacks, which might answer some questions that some people might have about, do the dodges have iframes? Yes, they do. And as a matter of fact, there are actually certain I believe there are certain bonuses in armor sets that actually increase the number of invincibility frames on your roll. As a matter of fact, I believe that my main armor set has that. You guys are like, how can you be so confused? Because in the alpha, it's kind of confusing to actually see what your armor has and what it doesn't. It's the UI still needs a lot of work. But anyway, the behemoth here, the Shrike, has ran away. Danger meter, if you guys are paying attention to it, has gone down. And I kind of resume a little bit of light gathering because I do need some ore. You guys know me. I'm a dwarf by nature. I need ores. I see the shiny. I need to take the shiny. However, my fellow Slayers are already engaged in battle. I can hear the sounds at a distance. And you can actually see the direction in which the Shrike ran away. So the Shrike is actually fairly easy to track. There are other behemoths that will actually burrow underground or just disappear into thin air as they go to a different location, forcing you to like relocate where the boss is. So we do have a full gauge. I'm informing my party I'm here. I'm ready to fight by launching my own flare. I'm unsheathing my sword, and instantly got clipped by the monster, just like straight up. Everybody's starting to do the punish. You guys can see the gashes and stuff on the monster. Once again, he's going to go ahead and enrage. Speaking of gashes on the monster, a lot of people are asking, where's the health pool for this boss? And I guess a lot of you guys haven't really played Monster Hunter. You have to judge how the health of a certain behemoth is depending on his appearance. Like you can see that gashing wound on his right flank. Other times you'll be able to see, for instance, if a certain behemoth has horns, you'll be able to slash off the horns. There you guys also saw me make use of my special and then use my lantern to heal, and still had to pop a potion because we took a lot of damage. Something very important is also you guys got to be able to identify the tells of each monster to know when he's vulnerable to really punish him. This is particularly important if you are axe users, because the axe is the weapon that requires charging attacks. With swords and chain blades, you can kind of get away with not knowing too much about the monster, just kind of like judge the general, the general moveset and just try to adapt to it. But with weapons like the hammer and the axe, in my opinion, you really do need to know more of their tells because they're slower weapons and stuff like that. However, obviously, knowing the monster's tells is going to be what allows you to rank as the highest damage in your party as well. So, obviously, with experience, you'll be able to start doing stuff like that. Here we're just like laying it into him. You can see that he's very weak, he's staggering, he's got wounds all over his body. So this is when you know that, he's pretty much ready to go. We ran away once, I think, already. Once again with the invincibility frames roll right there. I rolled in the direction that he was going to so that I could be a little bit closer to punish him when he messes up that attack and rolls away. He missed this sonic boom there, which this creature can actually do a sonic boom. It's pretty cool. And now we're just like laying it into him. Once again, you just have to look at the animations. Also look at the time of day in the island. Look how everything looks very different from the previous video. This looks like a late afternoon type or early morning maybe, I don't know, type of time of day. And you can see that the lighting, everything in the island changes. And in my opinion, it looks really good. So that is the Shrike, and that weapon is the sword, which is fairly basic, even though it is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, in my opinion. Damage dealer goes to Solaire. Once again, I just want to remind you guys of something very important here. These guys are getting all top damages because I'm using unupgraded gear. You guys will see what it's like when I'm using my proper gear. It's going to be different. You guys will see. You guys will see what it's going to be like. One of the things that I'm not a huge fan of, I have to say, is the whole thing always just showing up for MVP. It's only based on damage. I think it should be more than that, or maybe not even be there at all, because it kind of incentivizes everybody to just do as much damage as possible, which is not always the optimal thing, specifically if you want to get certain materials, like, not from the core, but like materials that you get from the monster itself. You'll want to break parts, so you want to encourage players to actually break parts, and not necessarily just deal damage. Because if you want to deal damage, just grab chain blades and swords and go. You really don't want to be using axe and hammer all that much, because it's a lot harder to get top damage with those two weapons. But then again, I'm biased towards that, and obviously a lot of that stuff can change. Anyway, this has been, like I said, the Shrike and the sword weapon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like. If you're new here, hit that sub button so that you're always notified when there's a new video or when I'm live streaming. And feedback and comment is always welcome in the comment section. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.